Welcome back to the Profitable Preschool Podcast, the show where we go beyond the business to meet the humans behind the childcare centers. I'm your host, Alexis Lewis, and today I'm joined by a childcare center owner who's not only shaping young minds in Houston, Texas, but doing it with vision, with purpose and heart. We're going to be diving into the real story behind her centers, the why, if you will, behind the walls. And we're also going to explore the core 4 domains that every leader lives by: their body, their being, their bonding, and their business. So we are going to jump in. But before we do, let me go ahead and introduce today's guest. Today we have Tiffany Hall-Maloy with us, and she is a proud graduate of Texas A&M University. She has a degree in communications and a minor in sports management. We'll have to get into that. She launched her academy with one goal in mind: to create the same village of support that she once needed. This October, she'll be celebrating 8 years of serving children and families through her academy, a safe, nurturing space where rigorous education meets real-world life skills and loving care. Welcome, Tiffany.
Welcome. And thank you, Miss Alexis, for the lovely introduction. I truly appreciate it.
You are welcome. I don't know if our guests know this yet, but one thing about me, before I got into the childcare industry, I was working with musicians. So I have a kind of pop question for you on the spot.
Okay.
What are the lyrics to a song that you like to live by? So take your time answering that question. It's not a rush. I'll tell you mine first. Right now, I'm in Jill Scott's Living My Life Like It's Golden. So that's kind of my, the season that we're in. It's sunny outside. It's summer, enjoying the time outside and all that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of the season I'm in right now. Are there any song lyrics that you're going to live by right now?
Yes. Oh goodness. I do like Jill Scott, but the first thing that popped up in my mind when you asked me is "The Night Is Still Young, and So Are We," and that is from Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, okay.
But I really love to listen to that song. I think that as a business owner, we're always like going. And I like to tell myself, like, hey, the night is still young. Like, I still have time, and so am I. So, just pacing myself and still having that fun and reminders to still live my own personal life as well. So I like it.
Absolutely. I love it. All right. We got some Nicki Minaj in here. I can do that. All right. So let's start at the beginning of your story. How did your journey into early childhood education begin? Was there even a moment that kind of made it clear that this is what you were meant to do?
Wow. I remember just being younger, and my dad, I'm going to be telling my age a little bit on this one. But my dad, he had like a camcorder, and he just loved to record things. And this one particular time we were at Blockbuster, and it was a tape, and the people in the store was like, oh, she's so cute. Like, we can make a little home video and you guys can have it. And my dad was like, yeah, that'll be cool or whatever like that. So he wanted to record it as well. So the gentleman was recording everything, and he was like, well, tell us anything you want to tell us. And I was telling him that my name was Tiffany. And for some reason, I just started saying my ABCs, all my numbers, like out of anything I could tell them. And my dad just thought it was the cutest thing. And then since that day on, my dad would always like record things, or my mom would record things. And it always led back to education, always, from me saying when I grew up, I wanted to help people. And I was like in elementary. I didn't even know like what it looked like to actually help people, and like what type of manpower I would even need. But even at a young age, I knew just the simplest things of like giving someone my pencil was helpful. So I always found education very important, and helping people very important as well. So, yeah.
Nice. So it sounds like from a young age, you kind of knew that you wanted to help people, if nothing else. And then it kind of changed into education and following that dream as well. So tell
Yeah.
me about kind of your first days in the field. What was that like for you? Where did you get started? Were you at a home-based center first?
I was in a home-based center.
Okay.
I was in a home-based center, and before I even got into the home, I'm gonna go as far as from college. I was
Okay.
in college, as you know. I was in communication, and I didn't even know that I wanted to get into education. I was in communication, and I end up not my senior year, in my sophomore year, I ended up saying like, "Hey, I need to get a little part-time job," and end up being at a daycare. And it just kind of went from there. It kind of went from there. And my senior year, I was one scholarship short, so I ended up doing work study, and it was for reading counts at an elementary school, and I kept being transitioned back to either daycares or elementary schools, and it just kind of went from there.
Oh, nice. So did you teach at an elementary school for a while after college as well?
So I actually didn't. When I
Okay.
graduated from college, I wanted to be different. A lot of people say you don't really use your degree,
Yeah.
but I was like, I really want to stay within my field. So I worked at a radio station called KCOH, and I
Hmm.
used to do the highlights for the women's sports, and basketball, tennis, whatever. I used to do it. And I did that for about 9 months. And I was like, well, really want to land a job here. And at the time, they didn't have anything open. So I wanted to continue doing it, but I knew I needed a job. So I went into education, the second passion that I knew I had. And I never looked back.
Got it. Okay. So what would you say kind of brought you from the communication space back into, obviously you just talked about how that brought you back into education with that particular company not having any openings at the time. What would you say, like, when did you decide, okay, I'm ready to bring children into my home? What kind of brought that about? And then how did you transition from that to, to your current setup?
Okay. So I didn't know I was ready. I'm a very faith-based person. I want to say I was pushed into it. At work, I worked at a school called Legacy, and I really, really loved it. It was a KIPP school. And KIPP, they have really, really high expectations, like really high. And back then, KIPP was like this newfound thing. So everyone was really working hard to become a KIPP teacher. So to be one, I was just excited.
Okay.
But during that process, I had been there now for about 4 or 5 years, and my position was getting changed. They were saying that I was the type of person who was really good to adapt with things. So if they noticed that it was a issue with the reading scores, now I'm on the reading team to help
Okay.
boost the scores. If it was the issue with, the math scores, now I'm on the math team. And I wanted something consistent. And it kind of brought me back to an issue that I had when I was younger, to where like I would get overwhelmed from steady transitioning. So I started saying like, I might as well just open up my own school if I'm always doing all of this. And it would just be a joke. I was
Okay.
always the person on the team that everybody would be tickled with. So I would say it. And then one lady was like, well, do it. And I was like, if I knew how, I would. And she was like, you can start as simple as in your home. Do you have a home? I was like, I do have a home. And she was like, well, go down there and figure out like how we'll go home, figure out how you want to set it up. And I was like, it can't be that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And her name is Miss Washington. We're actually really, really close right this day. But me, her, and her sister, we still have a good rapport. But she told me it is that simple. And she pointed the direction I needed to go into. And I did it. And I opened up a home within less than 2 months.
Oh, wow. So you moved fast.
I did. I moved fast. I moved
Mm-hmm.
fast because at that time I was getting so overwhelmed with work.
Mm-hmm.
I loved my job. I loved KIPP. If I wouldn't have started my own, I probably would have retired there. But it was just more so that nothing was consistent. and I never knew what I would have to go into the next day or the next month.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was going to do that, I wanted to just do it for my own self.
That makes sense.
Having someone say that I could start as simple as in my living room, I was up for it. I was like, put me in, show me how.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I can't buy all of these things. I'm looking on here like, this stuff is expensive. Like, how can I even purchase all of these things? And she was like, go to the thrift store, buy some toys, do some DIYs and build things on your own. And I turned my home into my childcare.
Wow. That is amazing. Okay. Now, one thing I heard you mention is that when you were at KIPP, that things sometimes got a little overwhelming. And that is totally understandable because running or working at a childcare center, that's no small feat. It takes energy, it takes resilience, it takes stamina. I'm wondering, how do you take care of yourself so that you can show up with energy for your center, for your staff, that kind of thing?
Of course. So me taking care of myself, it looks like a plethora of things. Actually going to work is me taking care of myself. It's something about the energy I get from the kids that like fuels me. I can be exhausted, and going to work, really helps me get back in a mood, in a groove of, really remembering my why, my purpose. But also on my personal side, I'm a scheduled person. So I'm very routine based.
Okay.
If I say I'm going to meet you every Tuesday, I'm going to meet you every Tuesday. If I say I'm going to meet you every Thursday, I'm going to meet you every Thursday. So with me being very routine based, it helps me not only, take care of things for work, but also have that time managed to where I can take care of my own personal self. So whether it's getting up in the morning, doing something that I like, maybe it's going for a walk, or maybe, it's catching up on a favorite show that I Law and Order is my favorite.
Okay.
But if it's catching up on something that I might have missed or wanted to see, I utilize that time either early in the morning or I do it later on at night when I get through with everything. And I stay with that schedule and I delegate. I've been a person that delegated since I was in a home. I remember I was in a home and people was like, you have like 4 or 5 staff members and you're in a home. And I was like, I know, because I delegated. And no, everyone wasn't full-time because financially I couldn't afford that. But maybe it was like me and one other person full-time and everybody else is part-time or a sub. That way I was never short-handed. So.
Got it. Okay. So
balanced life.
Yeah. So what is one thing that you delegate for yourself personally that maybe isn't related to business?
One thing I delegated to myself that isn't related to business.
Yeah, for yourself. Like, for example, I don't care for grocery shopping. So I go ahead and delegate my grocery shopping to Instacart. I'm like, I will pay you the full tip for the hour. I will not take away from you. I need my time. It's not my favorite thing to do.
And I completely agree. I do not go to the grocery store.
Oh, you don't?
I am a Walmart delivery. I am a Amazon girly. I am a at my front door.
Yes. Drop it off on the porch.
Yes, drop it off on the porch. Now I still want to get out and go into the store. So maybe like the weekend I will go to some of my favorite places like H-E-B and stuff like that and go pick up like personal things that I like, whether it's something like some earrings or some hair accessories or, just something that I like, skincare routines or whatever that I want to get. I'll go in and, actually take my time and pick out the things I want. Or I'll maybe go to a favorite store that I like. But when it comes to delegating personal life, I make sure that my groceries are delegated. And another thing too, I love organization. So if I'm working a lot and I don't have time to do things, I do have a family member who has a cleaning company, and I may say, hey, could you come help me organize or like help me clean my home? And things like that. It still keeps my space the way that I like it and be able to function and take a task off of me to where when I come home, I can do the things that I really love to do. Like, I don't let nobody cook because I still love to cook.
Okay.
So, as long as my groceries here and my home is clean, I'm able to come cook and still enjoy my family. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're able to take care of yourself in that way. And I love that you're so routine and organization based, because I'm sure that also translates to your centers and how you run them as well. And being routine based, let's talk a little bit about what people don't always see, right? So they can see how organized you are, or they can see how much of a routine that you have with your day. But one of the things that people don't always see is like our belief system, our sense of purpose, our connection, to kind of do something bigger. What role does your faith or your spiritual belief play in the way that you run your center or lead your team?
Of course. I believe that anybody successful goes through different type of mental challenges, right? And I mean, it's been to a point to where sometimes I'm like, I think I may be, missing some screws or morals, because how am I able to keep up with this? This is just madness, mayday. Mm-hmm. But one thing I know is that truly my faith keep me well rounded. I believe that having a faith, having the belief as simple as a mustard seed can take you far. Mm-hmm. And I also believe that, everything is a purpose. Whether it's like me opening up my new centers, it was times where, I've even expressed to you, like, I cannot financially keep up. Like, what can I do to get on the right path and get on the right track? But my faith is always being tested, but I never lose it. Mm-hmm. Even through the times where I've lost loved ones and I'm building a new campus. I've always said, God does things for a reason, and I observe my personal life, and then I observe my work, and I get back on the ball of it. Like, hey, I lost a loved one, but I do know that they will want to see me at my best ability, and it's been sometimes due to health, but if I can be that pillar in the community where I'm not only educating, about, school, but I'm also educating about life skills and ways that we can, pour into our mental health and physical health, then I can be that tool to change what I'm going through. Mm-hmm. So that helps me stay back on track. But also when I was going through the financial part along with the passings and building a school, I also told myself, God would have never brought me to this point if it wasn't meant for me. So whatever it is, show up. I don't care if I'm at 10% of myself, show up. I'm present. And they always say that, you build your true self when you do things when you feel like you can't do it. So when it's times where like I'm really low and I still, go to work, I'm like, even if today, if I just check an email, I'm doing something, and that's a win for me. I check the email, and it's been times where I check an email and it's like, hey, now you have a grant for playground, and I'm like, that's God talking to me saying, hang in there. I got you. I got you, and it may be a time where, I may open up an email and someone is saying like, hey, I've seen your school and I would like to, meet with you about something. I'm like, hey, my name is being spoken in rooms that I haven't even been in yet. God is still letting me know he's still present, and I make sure that I focus on even the smallest wins to help me really accomplish my goals. And I have a alarm in my phone that goes off every day at 7, and it always tells me to walk. Now I do not walk every day.
Okay, that's fair.
But I always told myself that even if I can't physically get up and go walk because maybe I'm at work or something like that, I take that time to just close my eyes for a second, breathe, think about what I'm going through. If I need a moment to, sit with my thoughts, I do that because I'm human. And if it's something to where I have too much of a heavy day, if I can't walk, then I may log on and watch something motivational, inspirational, but I will do something for myself for at least 15 to 30 minutes, and then I get back on track.
Right.
So,
It sounds like God is a big part of your life. How would you say that, like, even during those tougher times when you might hit hard seasons, is that faith what keeps you grounded? What keeps you moving forward?
absolutely, absolutely. And I didn't come from much, and when I say that, I didn't have all the resources that other people had growing up, but I came from a village. And what that village looked like is I came from, and it may have been my mom one day, maybe my dad, because my mom worked a lot. And or it may have been a grandparent that I was with, or one of my neighbors. She used to keep us, and she had a home daycare, Miss Kathy's home daycare. Mm-hmm. But we was just always surrounded by somebody that had good intentions when it came to us. So whether it was like, hey, your mom's gonna be here, she has to work, she had to get these things for you guys. So she has to work overtime, or, your dad's going to come, things like that, or somebody's praying for us. So fast forward, when it comes back to the daycare, anytime that I'm in my lowest, I always remember like things that people instilled in me, like this too shall pass, like, hey, it's okay. You need rainy days to grow your fruit and your harvest, right. Like without that, it's going to dry because I always want it to be sunny. So if you don't have any teardrops, you're not growing, so I use things like that to really, really keep me going. And, like I've told you before, everything is routine, right? And we go through cycles in life, but I'm still the same person. So I remember giving you the example, like if I'm a frugal person, it doesn't matter what stage of life I'm in, I'm still frugal, but my frugal may look different in those new stages.
Right.
So even though, my faith is being tested, I know like, hey, this is a cycle. Like you've been through this before. You know what it's like to not have nothing. But now you're a business owner and you don't have nothing. But you've been through this. So what do you do when you go through this? You pray about it. You get resourceful. You get your boots on the ground. You get up. You go market. You knock on doors. Yeah. You put posters up, flyers up in the community. You have events. You go meet people in the apartments. I go to Washington. I go wherever I need to go. Now, remind you, I'm a business owner. I remember when I first started, as a teacher, I was out there with some jeans on and a hat. Now that I am, I have multiple centers, and I was back in the same situation when I first started, but I'm still on the same mission, right? And I've been through this before, not having anything. So now I'm out there, but now I'm out there in slacks.
Right.
And flats. Right. and a blazer on, but I'm still the same person. It just looks different. I'm never too good to knock on a door. I'm never too good to put a flyer on a car. I'm never too good to go inside of a classroom and help my teachers, teach a lesson or change a diaper, or help them, help them get their class under control. Maybe the kids are too excited or anything. I'm never too good to do that. So as long as I keep that person in me, whether it's in jeans or whether it's in a slacks and a blazer, I'm always using that same motivation to get me to the next level. And I know, like, hey, did you get up today? Did you work today? Did you meet somebody today? Did you tell somebody about your business today? I don't care if it's the neighbor. That neighbor may know a neighbor. That neighbor might know somebody else. That neighbor might know somebody else who has 3 or 4 kids that they're looking for childcare. So long as I did those things, I could sleep at night. Because God didn't say I had to do it all. He just told me I need to show up and be present and be active. You know what I mean? So, absolutely. And he'll carry the rest for me.
Right. Absolutely. That's amazing. I think you kind of touched base a little bit on the people around you, like your loved ones, your support system, your village. How do you maintain strong relationships with the people who matter the most to you while managing the high demands of being a business owner, of having multiple centers? You have three, correct? Three
Yes.
different locations. So how do you manage keeping up with, those relationships for your loved ones and the people who matter the most to you while also maintaining such a high level business?
Yes. Ooh, my mom would kick my tail if I told her this. But on a serious note, as I started growing, I had to be very intentional about my schedule, right? So even the simplest things is like call your mom. I would put that on my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
But tell my mom I said that.
I will.
But no, it's something as simple as call your mom. Something as simple as breathe. Something as simple as pray. Something as simple as like call, your brother, your sister, your father. I would put it on my calendar. And it would be times where, oh goodness. It would be times where I have a lady, she works for me. She's one of my administrators.
Mm-hmm.
And she would be like, Miss Hall, you be at 1:00 in the morning sending us messages. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes that's when my day cools down. And I'm actually to be like, oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't check on them. She was like, well, okay, that's good. But do you know you can schedule a message?
Yes. Absolutely.
Hold on, you can do what? She was like,
Yes.
you can schedule a message.
Yes.
So I would be intentional to like schedule the message. Like I'm used to talking to my mom in the mornings. So I would schedule a message to where it's like, hey, good morning, like thinking of you. I've been working late, hey, or like, hey, I'm okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, I got a lot of things going on, so I may need a few days to myself, but I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm just in my thoughts trying to figure out how I can get through whatever I'm going through. And that helped.
Right.
It helped. And it helped me, have that relationship with my family and my loved ones and my friends as well. It's been times I had to schedule telling my best friends happy birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something is like, you don't have time to stop and tell me that, but I did. I had time to think it, write it, and I sent it to you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I just knew at that time that I may need to send it because I love to tell it to you at midnight. I may be exhausted, I may be asleep, but I want to still keep that. So if I thought of it and I made time to sit there, do it. And even though I scheduled it, I still made time and I put you in my thoughts.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I had to do some things like that, I had to put in my calendar, hey, did you eat? Did you drink? Did you close your eyes for a second? Because sitting at computers or, reading all of the clerical things to stay on top of your paperwork, that could be a toll on your body. Close your eyes for 5 minutes, step away for 5 minutes, go walk for 5 minutes, things like that. And it helps.
That's good. That's good. Similarly, I have all of my siblings and my parents, my in-laws, everybody's birthdays are on my calendar. And then, so I have a reminder in there about their birthday.
Yes.
Like you said, I just figured out probably a month ago that you could schedule text messages to go out at a different time. And I'm normally that person, like you said, who's like after hours, when my day winds down, that's when I'll remember something and I'm like, oh, I want to text them, but it's too late. I don't want to be texting people at 10:30, 11:30, 12:30 at night. So I'll schedule it to go out the next morning at 8:01. Like I'm awake, like as if I'm not, but it'll go out and it's still, like you said, it still gives that sense of I was thinking about you, or I was following up with you. Because like you said, it takes intention even to be able to schedule those types of routines into your day or into your schedule to make sure I don't forget about this person's birthday because they matter to me. And I want to make sure that I'm reaching out to them. But that day, I have no idea what my schedule might bring. You know, you might have something where, you know, licensing shows up. Okay, well, you meant to text your homegirl over lunch, but now they're here. I got all this stuff to deal with. Or, you know, students get sick, whatever might happen throughout the day. You still make sure that you made time for them. And I think that's really important. So it sounds like your routines are kind of making, I guess your scheduling and how organized you are is kind of playing into how you maintain relationships as well. So that's good to hear.
Of course, let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
See how you was like, you know, you may forget to text your homegirl. I don't care how much I accomplish in this world. I'm not losing my friends.
I know that's right.
I'm not losing my friends. And because I'm very intentional of who my friends are. So they are very important people. You know, I don't have friends who don't care about what I have going on. I have friends who are like, hey, you know, I'm off today. Let me know what you need me to do at the daycare. Sure.
Yeah.
I have some balloons need to be blown up. I have some files I need. Seriously. I have some friends who like, they're not going to even just call and check up on me. They're going to pop up, you know, whether it's helping me mop the floors, helping me take out the trash. So these friends, I'm not looking to lose these friends. Or like one of my friends, should be like, hey, have you all went on a date night? We haven't. Well, hey, this new placement my husband went to. And I'm like, oh, thank you, you know. So things like that. So since I have friends who are really like family to me, those are my core people because they help me stay balanced in my life, you know, and my life helps me really pour into my daycare. Whether it's good things or bad things, you know, it still helps me to work on my business, but in a different format. You know, sometimes I may be going through something hard, you know, in life, and then that helps trigger that box again. Like, hey, you know, what could you do to help kids in your community avoid these type of issues? You know, it may be something as much as I'm missing something financially, or like I made a mistake because I wasn't educated on, you know, accountings or things like that. So now I can inform my community like, hey, how do you organize your finances? So I need my bad things to happen. You know, I need my obstacles to come about, but I also need my good things too. They all are working in my greater good, but it's just how do you utilize them and apply them to what you have going on?
Right.
If, as a business owner, if you come home and you like, oh, my lights off, I need to get organized. You know, maybe I needed that fire to be like, hello. Or you taking care of your own personal stuff. So now I have everything on a auto draft or a schedule.
Right.
You need it to happen. Don't look at it as like, why is things always happening to me? These things are happening because you need to learn a lesson and apply it.
Yes.
But if you're not applying it, if you're not applying it, it's going to keep happening. So I'm thankful for all the ups and downs.
That's good. It sounds like you've built in a way to make sure that even you're able to prevent things from happening again. Like if you learn the lesson, look, I don't want to have to learn this lesson twice. Don't take me through this thing. My mother says, like, if I made a million mistakes, then you make a million different ones, because I want to have learned enough for the both of us. So if you have, it sounds like you've put in place like, hey, if there's something going on, I want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. I'm going to do something differently. I'm going to change a system, a process, a routine to make sure that I'm making the best path forward as possible. So that sounds really good. I love that about you. Are your I guess, what do your family, your friends, the people around you, what do they think about the work that you do?
Wow. This is a fun fact. I don't talk much about work to my friends. Even though they're heavily involved in it, but I don't talk much about work. And that's like whenever we link up, I make sure I utilize that time to just check in on them because they're popping up on me all the time. So they tell me, verbally like, hey, I'm proud of you. Like, what you're doing is amazing. I want you to keep going. But they show me more than they tell me. So I perceive from them that they're proud of me. I perceive of them that they don't want me to give up. I perceive from them that, hey, whatever you need, we got you. This is our, project too. That's what I perceive from them. They all follow my business page. So if I'm having a back to school drive or, a community event or anything like that, they may say, hey, go outside. I left something at your front door. And now it's 10 backpacks for the back to school drive. So I know that they rooting for me. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's good to have that type of support because you can show. That also tells me that you show up for your community and they show back up for you.
Of course.
That's what that shows me, that you have given. Again, it says, what's the Bible say? Give and you shall receive.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Pressed down, shaken together, and running over.
I'm trying to
shall men give into your bosom? That's what the word says. That's what the word says. And they're giving back to you, girl.
Man, when I tell you they show up, so I never have to be like, hey, you didn't tell me if you got off of work late and you went to Academy to buy some backpacks, I your paycheck that you work for, and you drove over here to bring it to me. Oh, I definitely know that you're proud of me. Oh, yeah. I definitely know that you see what I'm doing is not easy, but you want to make sure that I know that to keep going. I had one time I had a Halloween event and I had no decoration. And I mean, just straight winging the event. I wasn't even thinking about trunk or treat and things like that. I was new to it. I was trying to figure it out. And my friend was like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm going to print out some papers and they can do some coloring stuff. And she was like, oh, okay. And she's just listening to my thoughts. Oh my goodness, my friend Ebony bought me so many pumpkins. She bought me pumpkins. She bought like stuff to do like the makeup thing to where we can draw on them. It was just things I didn't even think about. And when she brought it to my house and I was like, what is this stuff? She was like, for your event. And I was like, these are things I didn't even think of. She was like, yeah, let's run down what you can do at your event. She was like, you got some ideas, but like, how are you going to execute this? And it was like the funniest thing ever. It was just the funniest thing ever. And I remember saying, hey, I want to feed 50 families and things like that. And my friend Kiara, my friend Addie, my friend Diamond, all helped me pour into it. I have another friend named Charnel helped me pour into it. And these ladies are amazing. Like,
that's amazing.
I know that they're proud of me. And it be the simplest stuff, So when we link up, I'm quiet. Tell me how you doing.
Right. You're giving back that support that you've received already. That's good.
I don't even need to say nothing at the table.
Yeah. It's a blessing to have a support system like that. And really for you to, it's like everybody has their own strengths, right? And so I'm not saying event planning is not one of yours, but it sounds like your friend had in mind, like, look, these are some things that you can do. And she showed up for you in a way where you didn't really have all the experience behind it for that specific event yet, but she came with ideas and execution on it. And that makes such a big difference for everybody, and how just that support system can really help you in times when sometimes you may not even know that you need the help, and it's like, but they're there for you,
Yeah, it was a lot, but I do want to tap on to, I can't even believe somebody was cutting onions in here. I was
right. I know.
But I do want to tap into, I know I talked about how I receive so much support. I don't want that to ever discourage somebody who's like, well, I don't have support. I don't have a lot of friends. Let me tell you something. I didn't always have, support to that magnitude, right? because at the beginning, I was just solely doing things by myself. My friends, we were all trying to figure it out. So it wasn't that they didn't want to support, but life looked different for them back then. Right. But remind you, we are still the same people who we are. It's just now support looks different. So I'm able to say, the things that they can take off of work because they have these really good jobs where they can take time off and come and help me, or they can work from home. So they'll come and work in the office with me and still be hands-on with me. Mm-hmm. But it was a point of time that they didn't have that type of, setup or life. And I had to do everything by myself. But it was still my faith, and I still made sure I got up and did everything I could do. I got up and I handmade everything. I was intentional about my days, intentional about, DIY things. So I don't want nobody to ever watch this and say, how can I follow my dreams? I don't have a mother. I don't have a father. I don't have a support. Let me tell you something. When you walking in your purpose and you walking with faith, God gonna send you people out the woodwork that you never even knew of. You're gonna meet friends. You're gonna meet friends that's gonna turn family at that point of time. You're gonna meet people who's gonna start wanting to work for you. That's gonna become family with you. So start. Mm-hmm. Everything else will follow. Start.
Good advice. Well, Tiffany, here we're going to move into what most people start with, which is the business part. It sounds like you have turned that passion, that purpose into what's now profit. So what's been the biggest growth moment for Growth Academy so far?
Biggest growth moment for Growth Academy. Ooh. I would say my favorite thing was when we were able to do a back to school drive, and we serviced about 1,500 people. Wow. That was my biggest growth. And I know people may be like, "Wait, you opened up new locations. That should be your biggest growth." No, when you able to service 1,500 people, 1,500 people, 1,500. Okay, yeah, I'm entering some rooms. Mm-hmm. I'm able to turn that loaf of bread into something completely different, and feed people off of it. Yeah, that's when I knew I hit a really good spot in life. And it wasn't financially for me. It was just more so network, connections, support from the community, who's tuning in to what Growth Academy has going on. That's when I was able to really measure this is how many people that Growth Academy is connected to. So I was able to make an event like that possible. That was my biggest growth.
Absolutely. It sounds like you were able to turn the income that you were receiving from the centers into impact into the community. And that's huge. And I think that's one of the things that I would say that I think will keep you and other center owners like yourself open for a long time, regardless of what the market is doing, regardless of different politics and things like that. Having an impact on your community makes all the difference. It's one of those things that's really important. And when you're able to reach the community where they are based off of you being present in that community, the community will show up for you too. So I think that's wonderful, especially for you to express that your biggest growth opportunity was serving the community outside. Obviously, your centers have a certain capacity. It's not 1,500 yet. So those weren't just people from your, for directly impacted by your service that you give every day. But this was the wider community coming out and being supported by your business. So that is amazing.
Of course. And during that time frame when we serviced those amount of people, I only had one campus.
Okay.
At that time, I had one campus, and I think we had about 151 kiddos. So just imagine the type of networking that we had to do. And it was me joining forces with other organizations to make it happen. So it was just to know that we can even reach that amount of people was amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. Now, you mentioned that, go ahead. You were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to say, also like keeping in mind, like when you're reaching certain goals, it's okay if you have to dial that number back. Like prime example, now that we've expanded to new locations, I'm at the beginning phase of things. So we have a back to school drive that's coming up, and me and my team been meeting, and we were like, how many people could we service? And when we looked at like what we have to offer, is not 1,500 people. It may be 500, it may be 250, but you never stop your purpose. You never stop your why. You know what I mean? Because, okay, this year it may be lower, but if I continue and I never stop, we might come to 3,000 one year. You know what I mean? So I never change who I am, no matter what phase I'm in.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, I was going to say that it sounds like your, again, your impact in the community makes a huge difference on the business. Tell me about kind of a little bit about the journey from one location. When did you open the new ones? How many do you have? Kind of give me a rundown of the business so far so the listeners can understand kind of where you guys are right now.
So right now we have 3 locations. One of them is fairly new. So I opened my first one in 2017. That was the home. We relocated within about maybe a year and a half. So we got settled within 2019. And that was our first center. After that, we were supposed to launch our next location like by 2021, but COVID hit, so we didn't. And we were supposed to, like, we had it on schedule, like, within a 3-year time span, we'll be opening up other locations, right? So we really wanted to have 3 already by the time frame. So the goal was always to still have more locations. But COVID hit, so we wasn't able to. So I had to get real strategic how I moved in COVID time. But I never stopped saving. I never stopped. My saving was just at a slower pace. I didn't stop doing community things. It was just at a lower pace. I just dialed back, everything that I was able to do. So once we got through the COVID phase, I know already right then and there, hey, let's go ahead and launch this next location. Well, it was supposed to be in 2021. I think we didn't take possession of it until 22 maybe. And then we didn't take possession until 22. The next one was supposed to open in 25.
Okay.
It did not line up like that.
Okay.
I opened the second and the third location literally like a year apart from one another.
Okay.
Which was really hard. It was really, really hard. I had to find ways on how I can save money, how to budget my money. So I looked into grants. I looked into partnerships. I looked into investors. I didn't get investors, but I was able to do partnerships. I was partnering with the school districts. I was partnering with a program with NASA to where we could do like robotics and stuff like that. Every partnership was important because it caused me to save money in whatever area that they were able to help me in.
Right.
So with the partnerships, I was able to save money in certain areas to still put towards the growth of expanding the company. The second location, it wasn't hard at all to like get enrollment in. It was like, hey, I'm not too far from the other location, so the overflow can come here.
Okay.
Cool. It worked. It was working out. The third location,
it's a whole nother level, huh?
it was a whole nother level. The third location literally took me back to when I first started. It was like rolling up my sleeves. It was like, sleepless nights. It was, testing my faith. It was being very strategic about how I spend money. I had to make budget cuts. I had to, do we really need paper towels?
Right. Yeah.
I had to question some things like, okay, like, what can we change? Like, what supplies can we change? Or, what things can we avoid? Like, do anybody in here know somebody that can cut grass so we don't have to pay the grass people? Like, and hey, that's when my support system came in. Like, I was like, hey, I got some gentlemen in my family. Somebody come out here and cut this grass a little bit lower than what they charging me. I had to really figure it out. I had to really figure it out. And I am still figuring it out. My second location is fine. My first location is fine. My third location, I'm still figuring it out. We're knocking on doors. We're having events. We're trying to get kids in. We're running specials. We're going to the school districts. We're doing anything and everything that we can. And it's putting me right back where I first was when I opened my first location.
Yeah. The beauty of that, though, is that you have the experience of the first location. So you kind of know what to do or what you can do. Obviously, things change. It's a new year, that kind of thing. But that's good that you at least have the experience of having built something successful in the past. And now you're back to, okay, we have a new location in a new city, if you will, a little bit further out from where we're used to being. But now we have to establish the community and the relationships and the support system in the village here in this new location too, and try to build up the community awareness as well.
Of course, my first center, it was like 1, 2, 3. Like, everything was like coming together. It was just hard because I didn't have the finances, right? My second center is like, oh, I have the finances. My name carries weight. People are gonna come. Okay, people was coming. All right. The third center was like, sit down. Nobody, what's that song? Nobody knows your name.
Right.
It was like crickets. Like, nobody's out here rooting for me. What's going on? But hey, it showed me like, hey, you got to get back out there. Like, what did you learn the first time? What have you learned now? And how can you apply it? And that's what I've been doing. So
good.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say? I guess, let me tell you something. One of the things that I admire about you is that when you and I first got on a call, I learned that you started your first, second, and now third location with no debt, right? And I can only imagine what that feat is like. And obviously, as you continue to progress, you can take on some debt. That's all well and good. But you started these locations without any debt, without taking out SBA loans at the time, without, all of those different things with the centers, which is a feat. I can only imagine what that's like. And obviously, it sounds like, now that I'm learning more about your backstory, you started off scrappy. You started off with, hey, I'm not buying everything brand new from Amazon to start out.
No.
I'm headed to the thrift store to go get some toys. That makes a huge difference in being able to do things on a budget, in a budget friendly way. What would you say, I guess, looking at it from your standpoint? I see the giggles. What would you say from your standpoint is kind of the key to being able to do that? If someone kind of aspires to be able to go down that road without going broke, if you will, or without having a lot of debt behind it, what would be your advice in that way?
Oh, I definitely started off scrappy. Definitely. I had a reading center that I made from milk cartons.
Okay.
I took about 4 milk cartons and I zip tied them together. Okay. And then I put a cushion on top. And I got some little curtains and stuff from like Family Dollar. And I made it like a whole little nook area. It was cute. It was like, this is nice.
Right.
Yeah, looking back, I wouldn't have did that. Okay. But hey, I started it. And, and parents were like enrolling because they were like, she's a problem solver, she's I'm gonna make sure this happens regardless, and they loved it, and parents would be like, hey, my kid's not playing with this toy no more. You can have this, I'm like, and I used to be like, hey, anybody that can bring donations, I'll take like $5 off your childcare or something like that. But I started getting some stuff out the woodwork. Then I had to send a message out, before you donate, can you clean the item?
Right. Can you make sure it actually works? You don't have to
Can you
bring his
make sure
batteries, but
yeah, like, can you make sure that this is even age appropriate for any kid in this center? You know, things like that. Cause there's a lot of things I had to put on some gloves and go through.
work it right.
But hey, you know, they were donating, and then I went to garage sales. Let me tell you, I was so hungry for success. I was so hungry to just make it to where I was doing things that people's like, I never even thought of that. I was going to schools. Hey, it's the end of the year. I know y'all about to throw this out. Can I have it? They like, yeah, you got a truck. What do I? I ain't had no truck.
I found one.
I found somebody. Hey, can I give you like $50 to use your truck to what's 50 when I'm about to get stuff that I don't have to pay for?
Sure.
You know what I mean? And I literally furnished my school, my second location. I had a lady who I forgot exactly what school it was. I forgot the name of the school. But anyway, they were like, hey, you know, we're getting ready to throw some stuff out. If you go to my campus, any of my campus right this day, I could point to a few things that I done got from people throwing away. I'm never going to change. I'm still that person. I'm still very strategic because one less thing you have to buy, you can put that somewhere else.
Right.
You know, so I did things like that. Thrift store. It was times where I had to wipe things off, maybe repaint it, or, you know, do something to it to make it more presentable. But I did it. I did it. I did it. And even right this day, for stuff that's in my centers, I ask people like, hey, when you're done with your cereal boxes or, you know, your canned goods or things that you're not using no more, can I have it? If I go to my centers, you'll see people have, you know, empty containers of things to where like kids are in the home center playing with. I will never stop utilizing anything from somebody else. You know, somebody past can be my present,
Right.
you know, and it can help me. You know, I don't look at anything as trash. So,
right. That's good.
You know.
That's good. So tell me, Tiffany, what is next for you in Growth Academy? Where are you headed from here?
Oh, where am I headed from here? The goal is to continue expanding and just being very strategic about it, building more partnerships. Again, that was the way that I didn't have a lot of debt. And then another thing too, I know you were like, hey, you know, you didn't even do SBA, things like that. Honest to God, I didn't even know those type of things existed.
Okay.
I didn't even know it existed for me to even try to get it. You know, I think that just as of, you know, the last 2 years as I've been expanding and I'm like, hey, what are the things that I can do? Because now I have multiple locations, like if I need resources, but never even knew, never looked into them, didn't know how to write a grant, didn't know how to do anything of those sorts. But I started writing grants, and you know, sometimes I would get a $500 grant, better than
Thank you.
You know, thank you so much. You know, and it was times where I would get 3,000. You know, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I don't even know what to do with this. But then they're saying fine writing, and you know, only buy school materials. You know, and
Right.
like, oh, I know exactly what I have to do with it. But and it was some grants. You know, it's just like, hey, whatever you need it for, you know, you utilize it, but. I didn't even know I wasn't financially educated to know about like, hey, how to apply for a loan. So that's something I didn't even do. But what I also did is I found a second hobby. So I found the second hobby. I would babysit on the weekends when I was at a home. I was doing DoorDash. I was doing anything to not take myself back to Kip. Not because I didn't like Kip, but if I go back, I'm going to go back with my head up high saying I did everything I could think of under this sun, you know, legally and respectful to my morals to make sure my business can succeed, you know. So I would do any and everything. And people would send people like, hey, the lady, she keep kids on the weekends, or she'll keep your kid to 8 o'clock, for extra fee. I would do things like that.
Right.
I would make them sign an agreement saying that it wasn't part of, Growth Academy, but I would do things like that. Or I would find like doing taxes. I started doing things like that, but it's something that you can do to still support your business, that don't take you completely from your business. My future is just, I want to continue expanding, whatever it looks like, from, growing kids or growing locations, just whatever that looks like. But I'm not doing it without my partnerships, and I'm not doing it without my hand in my community. So I'm just hoping and praying that my events become more successful, more people are learning about us, more making sure that I can continue getting my name out there into different rooms that I haven't been into yet. Because like you said, politics is going on right now, and we don't know what the future look like.
Right.
But if you are joining forces with other people, it'll help stabilize your company.
Right.
And COVID has showed me that.
Yeah, that's good. That's so true. And I think it's like you said, it's important to make sure that you've got those partnerships, whether that's through your family and friends, whether it's through professionals. I know you and I met, what is it? It's been 2 months ago now, that we first met and started working together. And I think in that time frame, just kind of the partnership that we've built and the rapport that we've built, just kind of building up that trust and being able to realize like, okay, here's some things that I can do better, or here's some things that I can change up, or here's some things that we can kind of switch up to make things a little bit easier financially with expanding as rapidly as you have. What, if any, like, advice would you give to a new center owner who wants to build something, meaningful without burning out, without going broke, without, and maybe even being able to do it on a budget? What advice would you give to someone who's either just starting out or kind of maybe in the beginning stages of where you were when you started?
Okay. The first thing I would say is get you a notebook. Like, I have nice planners, but I have something as simple as this from the dollar store. But I have big planners as well. But this right here, I journal any thought that I have. It could be like, hey, I want to have, this event or this, that, or whatever. Jot it down. Once you get all your thoughts out your head onto paper, it helps you relax more. It helps you be able to, not be overwhelmed and stressed. Once you get those thoughts down, prioritize it. What's more important? What's the easier goal to get to? And how can I get to all of these things? Is it anything I can outsource? Is it anything on this list that, my neighbor, I seen my neighbor make some stuff like that. Maybe I can ask her. And sometimes people don't care to receive anything financially. Sometimes people want recognition. So can they do a trade for me? And, I give them a shout out on social media. Or can, we trade, to where I do a service for them and they do something for me, things like that. But you have to start. I never want to meet someone who is saying, oh, I want to have a business. Do you have an EIN? That's free.
Right.
Show you a DBA? That's less than $20.
Right.
Are you writing down what you want to do? So if you don't have an EIN, you don't have a DBA, you have not journaled anything that you want to do, you not meeting people, you haven't joined a Facebook group in regards to what you're talking about, then you don't really want to do this.
You're not serious. Right.
You're not serious. Because those things will change your perspective of things. You'll have a fear, but the fear is the unknown. But when you start knowing, you no longer fear it. So in order for me to get that going, to decrease my fear, I had to take steps to the unknown so I can know. Now, those steps didn't have to be something strategic, something as big as like, I'm going to go get a building. No, I said EIN. Okay. A DBA. Okay. Now I'm going to establish business. I can be recognized through the state. I
Right.
can open up a bank account. I
Yes.
can put $50 in it. So if somebody say they want to donate, I'm not like, oh, let me go. They
Right.
can't. If somebody asks me about my business, I'm not like, oh, well, I've been jotting it down. Even my logo, I sit down in my cousin's bed, and me and her were talking about she's very artsy. And I'm like, no, I want it like this, or let me do it like this. It's simple as my logo.
Mm-hmm.
I drew it out. I jotted it down. I discussed it with people. The more you talk about it, the more you believe it. So you join a Facebook group, you're seeing other people, you getting ideas on how you can start or how you can make lemons into lemonade. Join. Because if you're just keeping it in your head, it's never gonna grow.
Right. That's great advice. Like you said, you said it, and the word says it about writing the vision. So if you have the vision, if you have the idea, if you have the want to be able to grow something, to be able to build something, then you're going to have to write it down. That's important. You're going to have to write it down, put those thoughts out. Because when you revisit them, the other beautiful thing is that you'll start to be able to cross those things off. Like, I look back at this from a couple of years ago, and I've achieved it. Didn't even realize, kind of like vision boards, right? I've already achieved this. I didn't even recognize that. Oh yeah, I wrote this down before. So that's really good advice. And like you said, moving forward, 1%, even 1% better makes such a big difference. Like 1% every day. Call it like 1% every day. Do 1% of what you could to get to the ultimate vision, to see what it is that you want to have. Getting that EIN, the employer identification number, getting a DBA, doing business as name, all of those different things make it so that you can open a bank account, make it so that you can start to get grants, make it so that you can start to be able to get your business credit established. All of those different things make a difference in being able to have a reputable business and actually grow. So good. Good, great advice. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we wrap up?
When I first started, I made sure that I wrote down my why. And my why was that I wanted to be the person that I needed when I was a kid. It doesn't mean that I didn't receive whatever I needed, but whatever I needed, I wanted to be that person. Right. So whether it was like, hey, I needed someone to care for me. Right now, did I get it? Yes, I got it. So now I want to be I want to be like that person. I want to be that's now my role model, and I'm using that example to now show to other people. Did I want to have more financial literacy? Yes. Did I get that? No. But what I do know now, I can apply it. So whatever shape, form, or fashion that was, be the person. My goal, my why was to be the person that I needed when I was a kid. And no matter where I'm at in life, I make sure that I'm uplifting that why. Now my why may change, and it may shift, but remembering my why, and it'll push me to whatever limits that I think that I can't go to.
Yeah, that's good. Well, thank you so much, Tiffany, for sharing your journey with us today. Your story is a reminder that building a business is about more than just the dollars. You didn't really even talk about the profit and that you're balling out of control today. It's not just about the data and the information. It's about the heart. It's about the community. It's about keeping yourself and your community healthy, about, keeping up with your why and what you hope and dream for in the future. And obviously about that human connection and relationships and bonding. And so thank you so much for showing up at the Profitable Preschool Podcast today. Until next time, everybody, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.